it's really well timed on Sony's part, because as it has shaken out, they don't have any first party stuff in the near term, and so they can effectively treat Final Fantasy 16 like a first party game.
You might as well
putting a ton of marketing behind it. There's nothing else around it for. I mean, we had the PSVR 2 launch, which sadly seems to have been
what now?
Exactly. I say that as somebody who spent the $550. Spider-Man is rumored for September, and we just know it's in the fall sometime. Wolverine is past that. So, I mean, this is effectively a first-party release. Yeah, even though Square's the publisher. I mean, it's it worked out pretty well for Sony, I think.
So once again, people, the narrative has changed. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is the night of the night. Welcome to Di-RRec Gaming. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to come out here and get on the stage with us. As we proceed to give you what you need, we come to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us gaming. I got my man Game Zeros in the building, the realest one, Fireball, Spark 117, and Six Slayer. Shout out to my man Wilkin, Dirt. She's here. Fireballs, we good down in the South, baby. We good all over the world. Thank y'all for all the support. But I got one question, Six Slayer. One question, Game Heroes. One question, Realist. One question, Fireball. And one question, Spark 117. And to all the real gamers around the world and to the Chit Chat community. Why the hell are they saying Final Fantasy is a first-party game? I got these mics out here, man, glazed down with the finest diamonds, with platinum, gold bezels. I'll take it over, man. I don't even know what to say right now. Narrative has changed, and it done hurt my head. Y'all have at it, man.
I done told you, man. We need to stop. We need to stop naming them after the equestrian variety. From now on, dude, they're Decepticons. They're Transformers, because they keep converting and transforming from one thing to the other. Next moment they're a gun. Next moment they're a tape deck. They themselves don't even know what the hell they are anymore. They just keep changing things over and over again, and it's never going to stop. This is going to be an ever-ending thing until like Sony decides that, you know what, I don't think there's any more gas in this truck. We're gonna have to park it on the side of the road. That's the only way it's going to end. But other than that, man, it's like everybody out there, don't I always keep saying this, but seriously, don't waste your time with these knuckle draggers anymore. Don't do it, because the only thing you're doing is you're raising your own blood pressure. You're giving your own self migraines. You're not going to get anywhere, because no matter what facts you bring to the table for them to chomp down on, they're going to sit there and push it away and just pull out the bag of BS and snack on that instead. Because the old saying we've all grew up with is misery loves company. I know y'all heard me say that a lot of times. That's all.
On that copium. That's what it is. They're high on that copium, bro.
They changed the goalposts, dude. Because at the end of the day, is right. They're going to protect Sony. That's the only thing it is, man.
Yeah, but Ryan
McCaffrey admits that Sony got no games, but he's going to treat Final Fantasy as a first-party game. So since when Final Fantasy is a first-party game for PlayStation, The last Final
it doesn't
Fantasy
even
game.
qualify. It doesn't qualify as a second party because
It's
I
not.
don't think Sony even funded anything in it.
No, they didn't. Oh no! See, these PlayStation fanboys said, "Oh, but Sony help them fund this and this, nigga." No, they didn't. Final Fantasy, what was the last? Was on the Xbox. Xbox, right? The last one. What's it called? Final Fantasy 7 prequel. That was on the Xbox. So how the hell?
You're talking about Crisis Core.
Well, yeah, Crisis Core, right? Yeah.
Paradise
So
Lost and Crisis Core. Those two.
Yeah, how the hell Final Fantasy is the first party game for PlayStation? That shit is crazy. Like
maybe eventually it will. Maybe that's the sign we're looking for.
Go ahead.
No, just admit that PlayStation got nothing this year outside of Spider-Man.
Just like last year. Just like Xbox had that, you know.
They can't. They can't. Games. They can't do that. That's like waving the white flag, saying it's over. We're done. We're tapping out. We don't take too many rides to Suplex City. We're through. They don't want to do that.
Well, apparently, accountability is a pony's kryptonite. Man, apparently the saying was against women, and it must be ponies now because they have no accountability for nothing. You know, when Xbox, and it was funny because last year it was 2 games that got delayed because otherwise last year they would have had no games neither, right? And now, like, we're expecting Spider-Man 2 to come out this year, but we've yet to see anything on it, right? Anything at all. Still expecting it to be this year. I'm not saying it's not coming out this year, but what I will say is probably coming to the PS4 as well, right? So, I don't know. It just seems like things happen to work out for them, not for their own efforts or their own work or anything like that. That they deserve for it to work out. Like it just does. You know, sometimes it just falls into your lap and you're lucky like that, right? And that's what happened last year. And now the opposite is happening this year. They really
but the difference in last year, right? Yes, Microsoft did not release any AAA, but you can't sit down and say Pentium and Grounded and it's all supposed to not first party games. They're first party games. This year, Sony does not have a AA or AAA first party game. Now, if you want to do semantics, fine. Horizon Call of the Mountain is a first-party game, and the DLC of Horizon, right? But last year, so last year, Microsoft did release a DLC. It's called Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels DLC, right? So if you want to count DLCs as, you know, the console war, the list war, then how the hell Xbox had a bad year last year? Compared to PlayStation, we don't know what's coming out. Because think about it, right? After God of War, right? It's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's 9 months, right? In the whole year that Spider-Man will come out.
Well, here's the thing about all of that is just like, well, sure, but they still have no games this year, right? But they don't want to admit that, right? See, it's like anything that happens to Xbox is 10 times worse. When it happens to PlayStation, it's all good, right? And it makes no real sense. No real sense. But the problem is, and this is what the problem is with all of us, right? What we all do, and see, it's the ponies who established this at the end of the PS3 generation, right? Their narrative became AAA exclusives, right? That they had, right? And it took the longest generation since the 2600 for them to catch up, right? And even start to even have anything like that, right? And then the end of the PS3 generation, and it wasn't even like that in the beginning of last generation because that first year, as typical with Sony, they have nothing, right? Right? Even though Xbox had their best launch ever in terms of games, right? But it's like the narrative was you need to have AAA games. If you don't have that, everything in between that you're playing in between these AAA games that don't come out every day, right? Okay, it's advertising. Yeah, it puts eyes on the product, right? and that gets you to get the system. But the thing that keeps you playing the systems is everything else in between that comes out week after week after week, big and small. But everybody always talks within the goalposts of AAA because that's the only thing that they could say back then, and they could even try to say now, right? That these AAA exclusives that they have, because that's the only thing they had, right? And it was unquestioned, obviously, that that's what they had, and nobody else was really on that level with that aspect. So that's what they bigged up. But meanwhile, they were lackluster in everything else, right? No choice of variety of games without it being a paid exclusive, a timed exclusive to keep it away from other platforms, right? And Sony is about to answer for that with the CMA and FTC and other groups this year, I feel, right? And going into next year, I feel, right? Like the CMA has already been talking about.
You got a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, they got a lot of explaining to do. That's right, Fireboss. They got a lot of explaining to do. All that stuff they did to hold down the competition, they're soon going to have to answer for that. But in the meantime, everybody, even Xbox fans, we always talk within those parameters. But that's for Sony fanboys to talk about. We should be talking about what Xbox is doing. And when we talk about, you brought up, a game pool, Pentiment, High Frost, all these other games. They may not be big AAAs, but these are games that people playing, people loving, that are getting lots of respect, right? And appreciation for the great games that they are. And I understand that AAA, but I've been saying lately, 8 hours of good gameplay is 8 hours of good gameplay. If it's AAA, AA, indie, whatever the hell. If you're enjoying that game and having a good time, it doesn't matter how much money they spent on making that game, or even more so advertising the game, right? To let mad people know. It doesn't matter about how many people bought the game. If it was a dope game that you like and you were playing and you had that good time playing it, it doesn't matter what else you play or how much else you pay for that game, or it costs for them to develop or advertise or whatever else. 8 hours of good gameplay is 8 hours of good gameplay. And that's not defined by if it's AAA or not, right? But that's the narrative. That's the goalpost.
That's the goalpost.
And then they can choose to move that around because we're going by their definition.
Hey,
but game is a good game no matter what.
But crazy thing about it, like they don't have nothing this year. Like like
they are small. You're right.
Spider-Man, like, is rumor coming out September. We don't know what the hell Stellar Blade is. The Last of Us multiplayer is dead or like missing the action. So it like, we want to call VR games, like, you're like, no, like DLCs, no, like they don't have anything like after like God of War, unless the Spider-Man do come out this year, right? So that's September, right? Between September to December 31st of 2024, what's coming out? Like, what's the room up?
Hey, Games Hero, is it safe to say that by the time, because remember they're supposed to have some showcase coming up before the Xbox showcase in June, right?
Yeah, that's fake news.
Wouldn't it be kind of safe to say they're going to be sweating buckets when that showcase rolls up and Spider-Man ain't in that showcase?
Okay,
so I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna find a GIF that has a dude pointing at the stop clock at a stopwatch.
Okay. Okay, so let's say they have a showcase, right? They show Spider-Man. What else are they gonna show though? That's the biggest question.
Bingo, right there.
I'm running
on that right there.
Spider-Man, and they don't even have to have a date or anything like that. They can just show it, and that's going to satiate them for a little while longer. Even though everybody else is gonna ask, especially us at the Xbox, right? We're gonna ask and be like, when's it coming out? We still don't know if it happens like that, right?
But here's the problem.
That's what we're gonna ask, and it'll be still okay because people make excuses for them all day.
But here's the problem with that. This is the problem when it comes to shows, right? Sick. We already know what they got to show. So see, now the hype has, just like Benji sells. Benji sells parades hard. We know it. But we have to say he wasn't lying about that last few tweets he said. When he talked about Sony not having no games, when he talked about they need to make a big show, when he talked about they need to show Spider-Man because the hype is dropping, because we all know that it's all Spider-Man now. This generation is Spider-Man. The problem is, like Rilla said back in the day, you're gonna really mess around and put all your heavy hitters out in the front row seat, right? And then you're not gonna have anything. But we honestly didn't think that Sony was gonna do that in its first 2 years. They literally have already done it. What's left? What's left to play?
They done emptied the clip.
They done dropped God of War. They done dropped The Last of Us. I'm not even talking about Demon Souls, Returnal. None of them, or Horizon. We can even put Horizon Aloy in that category. I ain't even talking about them or Gran Turismo 7. So you put out God of War already, which God of War is the game that you're supposed to showcase your system. It failed right out the gate because it was cross-gen.
Turismo kind of counts as a heavy hitter for them, and that was supposed to showcase stuff too.
It failed to present the console. Now you got Spider-Man. They did Spider-Man right with making it PlayStation 5 only. That should have been God of War, but we already knew they can't play with that because God of War, the first 3 were not system sellers. It was only the last one that pushed units. So they're not going to just say, oh, yeah, bet off of that. They're not stupid. They're not that stupid. And it paid off for them. They had to make that game cross-gen. But they got prepared for Spider-Man. Why? Because Spider-Man outsold all their bangers. It outsold Nathan Drake. It outsold Ellie. It outsold Gran Turismo. It outsold Ratchet and Clank. It outsold Kratos. Spider-Man, like I said, is the new face of PlayStation. It don't even belong to PlayStation. That's like saying the Hulk comes on Xbox and the Hulk outsells every Xbox name game out there. It outsells Fable, Gears, and Halo. What kind of sense would that make? Those are your banners. Those are your bangers, right? But the thing is, they needed something to gravitate. They were bored. We found out they really wasn't playing Nathan Drake. We found out they didn't care that much about Ellie. That's why they remake the game so many damn times. They ain't playing no damn Demon Souls or Bloodborne. They're not playing The Order of Nothing. They ain't playing Until Dawn.
They're not playing Returnal.
We just found out Detroit Human just hit maybe 5 million. That's because they threw it on PC. I mean, at the end of the day, they're just not playing games. Final Fantasy 17, the best thing I can say for it, it just got to sell. At this point, PlayStation games just got to sell. They got to buy these games, man. That's the bottom line. There's no more, oh, we got bangers, we got the exclusives. No more of that because that got debunked. Y'all was relying on those third-party games to make these first-party games. That's debunked. All them third-party games don't even do nothing for Sony. Absolutely nothing. Y'all, we looked at the top 10 list. Where's your exclusives at? Nowhere to be found. Your top 5, you might as well hang it up.
Let me tell you what is there. Minecraft.
Them Xbox games? You're right. I can tell you what's there. You're right. You're right, Fireboss. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, y'all on y'all third wheel and you're rolling, right? They're on their third wheel. The other one's on rims now. All you see is a bunch of sparks flying. You know the end is coming. You know the CMA is tired. They're running out. They stretched it. Okay? Sony, you did a good job making this go the distance.
Oh no,
They
no,
told
no,
us
that's
it was
not
gonna
true.
go-
No, that's not true. The CMA is very mad at Sony. This is what I was talking about before.
Mhm.
Listen, I've heard from a number of folks and realists can verify. Yo, at very first, because if you notice, right? But even before I say that, yo, let me shout out to we got a couple more folks in the chat here. We got Other Zinc 100. You already know him from his YouTube channel, Intro Media Gaming. We got Crunk Ass Chris, Dr. Vodka, Arlington Gaming with Jay. That's another dude with a YouTube channel just starting out. Make sure you support the homie right there. Dr. Vodka, of course, that's the homie. J-Rock is in the chat. The end is near. Yes. This is true. Bro, this is the calm before the storm, bro. I tweeted about that yesterday. Yo, it was just real creepy and eerie for me because I'm not used to Twitter being so chill and quiet yesterday. Nobody on the PlayStation side has been saying much of anything, right? But getting back to the CMA, yo, if you notice, right, at first the CMA was speaking and everybody thought of this too, that the CMA was just repeating Sony's talking points because that's literally all they knew. Because if you notice, all they ever said was Microsoft, not Xbox. Remember out there in Europe, you got the EU who was going after Microsoft first, right? And they find them all types of monopolies, about monopolies, and then they did it to Google, and they did it to, countless other corporations out there, right? So they're looking for money, and that's what they did, right? To fund the EU in many ways, right? To fill their coffers because they definitely needed that, right? But now, notice how in the beginning they were talking about Microsoft, not Xbox, Microsoft, right? And then fast forward to now, right? They are really mad at Sony. Sony has a lot to answer to with them. Even though this is obviously going to go through this deal, Sony still is going to have a lot to answer for to the CMA, possibly the EU, but in particular the CMA, they're really mad with Sony. Don't get it twisted. They just got their eyes open to the real situation, and I've heard this from multiple angles.
Well, the reason that the CMA is irritated with Sony is because when they finish with all their findings, they set up the verbiage in a way that when Sony decides to protest again, that they can't, right? That if Sony does it, those questions are already answered. So Sony's gonna have to move on to the next platform to cry on. But going back to where y'all started, right? With Square, I don't know if y'all saw, but Sony basically tells Square and other third parties, most likely from Japan, that if you basically when Nintendo used to tell everybody, if you're gonna make games for Sega, don't make games for us. They say that you can't even work with Microsoft, right? That's what they're circulating. That Sony says you can't work with Microsoft, and this is my problem with a whole lot of these narratives out here, man. They say that we don't buy Japanese games. I always said, hey, we can't buy them if y'all don't publish them to the platform.
Fact.
The thing is, you don't know about them if you don't even speak about them. If you don't at the bottom of the ad doesn't say Xbox, you don't know what's going on.
But check it out, Fireballs, Game Heroes. I didn't know that they were basically being banned from having dealings with Microsoft. But I knew that there are regional locks on certain games. Games would release here, but not over there. Because see, what Sony wants is to stymie Microsoft's growth in the region. They don't want Microsoft to. They don't even want Microsoft to even start to build up any type of snowball effect going in the East or momentum.
Right. But even before they did that to Xbox, they were doing it to Sega. But in hindsight, really,
even for who did it to Sony? I mean, are you talking about Sony?
Yeah, Sony did to Sega, right?
Yeah, Sony's done it to everybody.
They did it to Nintendo. They did it to Sega. Now they're doing it to Microsoft. Indeed, but my question to you is, in hindsight, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Does what makes sense?
You didn't know that's what Sony was doing.
Well, it all made sense a while ago. I didn't know that it was that extreme, right? I didn't know they threw their meat on the table and said, hey, you can't even go over there.
Well, that was the whole vibe of it.
You can't do anything with them. So, if Sony needs to consider Square first party, they might as well if they can't do business with anybody else unless they publish a game. Because the only games that go to Nintendo are the ones that Nintendo publishes and pays for development, right? That they're going to get timed exclusivity on first. But when it comes to Microsoft, they say that Microsoft's no threat. Microsoft's third place. Why does Sony need to pay for these exclusivity deals to keep games off of Microsoft if they're no threat and a non-factor in the marketplace? Those are my issues when it comes to when it comes to this whole Japanese movement. Now, truth be told, I know that Fireboss, you are a Japanese liaison, but these games don't sell. I'm sorry. Like when you go to Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and the big ones, there's only like 7 of them that are major hitters. But those games were mostly on multiple platforms. When you have all these games fragmented, there's some games that I wanted to go to Microsoft. There was a game called Monarch. I said I ain't gonna play it if they don't put it on Xbox. I'm trying to start playing these games, but why aren't they coming to Xbox? But really, I knew that there had to be some type of contractual obligations. I just didn't know that Microsoft, that Sony threw down the gauntlet. We knew that Nintendo threw down the gauntlet back in the 80s and 90s and said, if you make games for Sega, don't bring your games over here. But I didn't know Sony went to that extreme. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's not surprising at all,
man. Oh yeah, it's a borrowed play from the playbook, man. Well, I wouldn't say borrowed. It was completely just ripped out. The pages are ripped out. No, you know what? They walked into the locker room and they just stole the playbook and ran out.
Yeah. Well, that was like Waterboy when Coach Klein had his whole playbook stolen, right? Sony is nothing but a thief, right? If they're not copying Nintendo, they're copying Microsoft, and then their fans have the nerve to say that they're innovators in this space.
Well, I don't understand. What do they expect to do, right? They don't have the technology, right? Listen. Let's go back to the drawing board because this is good stuff right here that you brought up that I don't think people are really dissecting the whole issue. What does the wise man always say? If you want to know something, go all the way back to the beginning, right? And bring everything up to the light, right? So look, when Nintendo came into the game, right? What did Nintendo do to learn how to conquer? Nintendo was already in the console space. They were already in the video game space, in the arcade space, to those that are too young to know when I was saying video game space. So everybody was in the arcade space, in the arcade realm, right? Mario Brothers, there was an actual arcade machine called Mario Brothers. It was nothing to see that, right? My man, Dragonheart,
Yobi.
My man, yes, sir. Peace, love,
Legend himself.
Keep up the good work, Legal. Six Slayer, what up, Legend?
What up, Legend?
What did they do, right? They literally sat there and watched the American companies bow out. They saw ColecoVision, Atari, and Television. All these companies bow out. And they said, you know what? We're going to stay in the game. And then what did they do? They started buying up the licenses and the properties. Because they knew once they proved that video games is not a fluke, video games is not a joke, because a lot of y'all don't even realize, y'all are too young to understand. Video games is is the biggest sensation to ever rock a generation. More than music, more than movies, more than comic books, things that you could possibly try to think of for a source of entertainment. Nothing impacted a generation like video games. And it impacted so much, we had psychiatrists trying to come up with solutions, laws that were put in front of place of these things, man. Because like we said, my generation made it possible for this generation to even have these corny narratives and these gaming journalists today that we see, and all this little corny, goofy stuff that we see today on social media. So once Nintendo knew that they was going to prove their point, they waited. They sat back and they waited and they locked up everything, right, Realist? Mm-hmm. But watch this. But there was somebody that was in the game as well. Now, where everybody else could not compete with Nintendo, one could, because one actually, here, I want y'all to understand this, One actually knows how to make video games. One actually was making arcade machine games, and one actually owned arcades, and that was Sega. So Sega was able to create a mascot. They were able to create two mascots, as a matter of fact. Alice Kidd was the first one. It was a big deal over in the Eastern or in the Western world because Monkey King is big there. That's like their Greek lore or God folklore.
Yeah.
Alex King.
Mythology.
Yeah, that's
Alex
their
Kidd,
mythology character, the Monkey King. So he was the Monkey King character, right? But they knew once we put him over here in the Western world that the Western world would not understand it. They gamble, right? He's not going to be as popular as he is in the Western world. So they came up with Sonic the Hedgehog in the next generational console. They was able to do that because Sega could make their own money. They had a big bank.
Yeah.
You follow me? They had a big bank.
Yeah.
So they were able to do what? Compete against Nintendo. Nintendo couldn't do nothing to Sony. To Sega, because Sega could literally make their own games. And at that point in time, that's the only way you could compete against Nintendo.
You must have missed that. You must have missed that documentary JyzalGamingTV put up.
Real quick. If y'all didn't pay attention to that JyzalGamingTV video today, and you a Sony fan, disclaimer: you hate Xbox right now, don't watch that video. Just don't even watch the video because it's gonna make you mad. It's gonna hurt your heart. So Sega was able to last as long as it did because it had its own wallet. It didn't need Nintendo's approval to be in the game. Are y'all paying attention? So when Sony backstabbed Nintendo and then were making them raw deals and everybody was being sneaky, you had literally two sneaky companies trying to merge together. That didn't work. So how did Sony get into the game? They did what they had to do. They took the money from the music industry, from the motion picture industry, from the Walkman, from the electronic departments, and they put all that money and they built them a console. Nintendo basically already gave them a name for it. Nintendo's the one that named your console.
Yeah, Nintendo named that.
Yeah,
they named the console. They taught them the game and everything, and then they tricked them and cheated them.
They taught them how to do it all, right? But they didn't teach them how to market. But Sony understood that. They took their marketing power from the electronics and went all across the world. They went all across the world, and they were able to infect the Japanese. And what they did was they made Nintendo look like the sellout. I mean, this is documented. And
exactly.
What
Nintendo
they did was
robbing them blind, so they offered them a better thing, so they gladly went to it. You know?
Yeah, what they did, they hit them in a personal level. If y'all don't know the Japanese culture, you wouldn't understand why Sony did that. They went for the ultimate diss. They dissed them so bad. They talked about how they work with the Americans, how they work with everybody around the world, how they're not giving you the best of your culture in their games. They're mixing with everybody, and we're staying true to y'all. And so a lot of people were deceived. A lot of Japanese people were deceived, and they went over there. So that's why you saw, like me and Gamesreel talked about, the Wii situation when it only sold 14 million. People think that was because, they made a whack console. Nah, that's because the name Nintendo had been tarnished over there by Sony. And what Nintendo had to do was go back again to their roots, build up their integrity, and shoot at all cylinders. So when they made that Wii U, that was their answer to the PlayStation, period. And look what they did. They were able to come out of their ashes. So Sony ain't been able to destroy nobody.
The Wii, not
right?
the Wii.
Nintendo, Xbox is Sega's successor. It's his spiritual successor. So yeah, you can say Nintendo destroyed and Sony destroyed Sega all you want to. But when you look at Xbox, that's Sega reborn. It's Sega reborn. And then you get Microsoft in the game. Microsoft was wanting to compete from Sony from the jump. The name Xbox is compete with Sony. The whole concept of Xbox is to compete with Sony.
Not just in gaming, just in
dominant.
Sony in general, because they saw what Sony was becoming back then.
Everything over at Sony is smoke and mirrors. We know this.
Sony's got the dominance. They got the market lead. They're the grand champ in the market lead, right? They're influencing stores.
How they got that though?
Yep, they're influencing stores, right, Realist? Right, J-Rock? They're blocking games. See, there's so many consoles, Six Slayer, that we didn't get a chance to touch as kids, Fireboss, because of people like Nintendo and Sony. But yet, once we're educated, we understand they were selfish. They wasn't me. Now I'm finna get real on them, Realist. I looked at myself, J-Rock, and I had to go back to my essence. As a 4-year-old kid, there's only two sides that you can be on, Six Slayer, Spartan, Games Heroes, and the Chit Chat community. You was either on the side that was on the marketing side of things, or you was on the side of the competitor. Now, only you know if you was on that side. I know what side I was on. When my dad bought my first console, it was the Intellivision. I was on the competitor side. Intellivision went to compete with Atari. My second console was the Sega Master System. I was on the competitor side. My third console, the Xbox. My wife bought it. I was on the competitor side. So this is why the legal could never have a donkey mentality. I'm always about expanding games for everybody to play. That ain't never been an issue with me. So while donkeys get on social media and try to tell people like me, oh, you want to play these games, you must buy a PlayStation. Or, oh, everybody else's games suck. We got the best games in the world. That's what you sound like when you play the popularity contest.
Yo, Legal, let me ask you something. If you have the greatest studios in the world, why do you need to make deals with third party to, you know?
Why you need to buy people like Firewall
to exclude Xbox, right? If you got the best studios, why do you need to make deals to exclude Xbox?
Because it takes them too long to make a game.
And another thing, because they know who their real competitor is, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper on that, J-Rock. What's the one thing, if people study gaming history, right? The one thing that propels gaming is one word: technology. And it's the race to technology who gains the power. It doesn't even matter who's number one in the market, number two, number three, number 4, and 5. Whoever gets to that first will win. Whoever figure out how to control the next technology wins. So to all my donkey comrades out there, once again, the new legal is telling you the truth. Once again, I show my caring side for y'all. I laid out my carrots. I got my hay bales over. And guess what? I'm giving them free tonight. They're all free. You can come and graze all you want to on tonight's show. Because we want y'all to open up your eyes. Sony has bamboozled y'all for 25 years. You did a good job, though, with your fanfare. I'm not going to lie. I don't see nothing wrong with that. You love the PlayStation console, but it just don't love you back. You don't have no backwards compatibility. Your old school controllers don't work. You are stuck. Same with Nintendo. See why Nintendo don't ever drop its prices. And I meant what I said. The Switch was my last Nintendo console.
Hell, they increased their prices.
I'm not playing this game anymore. The narratives don't exist with me. Like I've always said, I'm beyond such feeble mindset.
Hey, 90s Nintendo was the Costa Nostra.
For real, that's like I kept saying. That's where Sony learned it from, right?
Right.
But
You can't give me with that sorry narrative when 95% of y'all ain't buying these games. Y'all ain't even buying these games.
And that's the thing that's the thing I want to respond to that Realist was saying, right? About, these games don't sell. But you got to realize the platform, PlayStation, like they sell all these systems, but proportionally, the games aren't selling like that, right?
Sick.
But
Why
we
is
see-
that?
Because they just don't buy games. These people aren't real gamers who rock PlayStation.
Sick.
generally.
Why is that?
The main ones, but the main ones are buying the
Whatever
system.
reason. Hold on,
They're
boss.
buying Call
Hold
of
on,
Duty.
boss.
They're buying
Right,
FIFA. They're
right.
buying Madden.
Hold on, boss. That ain't it. Sick. Why? Come on, Sick. You almost there.
I couldn't tell you. You know why? I can't
Yeah,
tell
you can.
you.
You just ain't thinking deep enough. You know the answer.
You know why I can't tell you? Because I don't have that mindset neither. I'm a gamer like the rest of y'all. I don't think like that, right?
Here, let
Here it
me.
is.
I got
Games,
the
I
answer.
want to
I
buy
got
them
the
and play
answer.
them.
You got the answer,
I got
Spark?
the answer. Yeah,
Why?
number one, the reason why they don't play games. Number one, they're busy beating their nuts on Pornhub on their
That boy's
PlayStation.
stupid.
Yeah.
It is true. It is true. That's why they took the browser out so they can try to sell
Hey,
more
he ain't
games. He ain't
lying.
lying.
He ain't lying.
lying.
But
Number
here it
two,
is.
Hey, yo, beat
playing
these
Twitter
games,
all
not your
day.
meat.
Right.
Exactly.
Here it is. Here
Yo,
it is.
I like
Yo,
that.
beat
Hashtag
these
that, bro.
games, not your meat. You heard?
Right. Here it is, Sick. Here it is. It goes back to the beginning, right? You said something and you was right there. Why is it that they don't really beat these games and play these games?
Because they beating their meat.
Well,
You
well
said it.
really, we get it.
Because it's more
It's
about
the fun-
clout than actually playing games.
I was hoping you remembered.
I
Go
feel
ahead,
like
go
Willis
ahead,
now. Look,
go ahead,
Willis,
go
I
ahead
feel
and
like you
recant. Go ahead and recant.
It's the final boss they must face.
Look.
Do well.
You
Then.
gotta,
Two-handed.
Look, you gotta go back, right? And look. Remember when we talked about this, y'all?
Mr.
What
Gauntlet.
happened to that 60 million that they never recuperated from? What happened? I'll give you a hint. J-Rock put the magazine out on
Netflix.
No. You listen. It was the DVDs.
Yeah.
PlayStation was sold more as a DVD player than a video game console.
Yup.
And
Never
this is
that.
the fact that they
And
never
the PS1
ever
is a CD
want
player. Yup.
anybody to know and say. They want you to think
Right.
that PlayStation
Sick-
is the
Sick
home for
nailed it.
games.
The first
And it
one was a
never
CD
was.
player. The second one was a DVD player. The third one was
Right.
a Blu-ray
Yo,
player.
the third one with the
biggest
Blu-ray
seller-
player was so crazy.
Right.
Was so crazy. Let me tell you, because I was focused on the Blu-ray versus DVD war at the time, right?
Yo, Sick,
And
tell me what was the best-selling bundle at launch for the PS3?
The PS3 bundle?
Yeah.
Man,
Tell me.
man.
The one that came with the Spider-Man movie and the remote control.
Yep, and the remote control. The same thing happened with the PS2. Everybody says that the PS2 was their first DVD player. It wasn't for me because I'm a dude like that who mess with tech like that. And this is why I'm talking about the HD DVD and Blu-ray war, right? It didn't matter, right, that HD DVD was winning because they were winning against Blu-ray at the time up until the week the PS3 came out. I was in school at the time. I wrote essays about this and got high grades because of that. So trust me, I'm focused. That sold the PS3 because it cost half the price of a Blu-ray player that was out from Samsung. Even Sony, who helped create the format, didn't even have a player yet. Their first device that actually played the Blu-ray format was the PS3 itself. And that was the bestseller, like J-Rock said. The system with Spider-Man and that remote. I'm telling you, that's how it happened. And with the PS4, right, that was the first time where the competition was lacking. We know what was happening with Nintendo, and we know what was happening with Microsoft, right? And even on the PC side, there was a lot of disruption with games for Windows and Game for Windows Live and how much, because that was the era when people still hated Microsoft, right? So Sony had no competition. And I've said this before, every time that Sony actually wins, it's because they actually had no competition or that competition was so lackluster or had so many other problems of their own that it was like no competition, right?
Six
And that's
right
what happened
there.
with Sony.
What happened to the PSP?
The PSP, that was Sony's own mistake because
Right.
they
What
didn't
happened to
release
the
no
Vita?
games.
What happened to
So
the Vita?
Sony's own mistake. They didn't release no games for it.
Now, who was their competition?
Nintendo. And even though the
Exactly.
DS is the best-selling system of all
There you
time,
go.
before that, everybody already assumed the PSP was gonna win, right?
Hey,
The
there
DS
you
was
go. Come on
asked
with
for
it.
a whole year and a half. The 3DS, its success was a whole year and a half of ask because number one, it had no games, and it was $100 too expensive. Both things got resolved around the same time the 3DS start blowing up, right?
Hold on, say
And
that
all
again,
time,
Six Slayer. It was what? More expensive. Say that again.
it was $100 more expensive than it should have been, right? Nobody wanted to really spend that much. Not against the PSP or the Vita. I mean the 3DS, right? It was $100 too expensive, and they really had no software. And both issues got resolved around the same time. They dropped the price, right? I think by $100, and software slowly started to come out around that same time. Meanwhile, Sony, I remember, and I mentioned this, I think the last time I was on, right? With the PSP. I had one day one. It was like a whole 6 months to a year of no software. Gran
Turismo, hear that, right?
Gran Turismo PSP that was announced a year before the system came out the year the system was discontinued. That's how late and far behind they were. The PSP that everybody automatically assumed would have won the handheld war. Everybody just thought it was a foregone conclusion. But Sony sat on their laurels and did nothing and let it all fade away. And then it's like they learned no lessons and did the exact same thing with the Vita, because the 3DS was twice as bad a mistake as the DS was, because it was too expensive and had no games. At least the DS, the first DS, the price was right. It just had no games, right? And so all Sony had to do was release games, and they didn't. At launch, they did, and then there was a whole long time of nothing, right? And that happened twice in a row, and they just,
and Sid,
I don't know.
What did we find out? That Sony, right? They were making their developers develop twice for the same game. So let's just say, let's just say, what was that? Gravity Rush. True. So in order to get Gravity Rush, right, they do it on the PlayStation Vita, but then they wanted to do it on the PlayStation 4. So they were overhauling their devs. But Nintendo was like, you know what? Okay, listen. You do. Now watch this, realist. Watch this, Game Shields. I'm gonna have Game Shields talk about this Nintendo for a minute. Nintendo was more like, look, we got the games. That ain't an issue with us. So look, put games on the Game Boy / DS. Put games on Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
So this is why Luigi Mansion 1 and 2, you ain't gonna find on no console, and Nintendo ain't gonna put it on no damn console. If you want to play those games, you gotta go with the handheld. Luigi Mansion 3 though is on console. You can play that one on console. That was the difference. Nintendo wasn't overhauling their devs. So they were able to just keep making games. Like you said, the goal was making games. That's where I want to bring it to now.
Mm-hmm.
Who's making the games now? The joke's on you, donkey. Look who's making the games now, to the point where you got clown Ryan McAfee, right? That showed his head against Game Heroes. Last time we heard him, he was demanding Xbox for games and dates, J-Rock. He came out this year, January the 3rd, 2 days after New Year's. Everybody was just happy to be alive. This clown comes on Twitter and start putting demands on Xbox. Fast forward, we got the clown saying, look, Nintendo don't have no games, basically. What was PlayStation VR 2? So here's where I'm trying to speed it up to. I want to be sarcastic with that one, too. So you want to listen to guys like me, right? Who foresight this stuff, or any of these dudes up here. Y'all ain't listening to nobody out here in the chit-chat community who can foresight this stuff. Like my man said right here, you know, they ain't got nothing on us, bro. Y'all don't want to hear from the streets. We been told y'all.
Meanwhile, there's supposed to be a blockbuster game releasing less than 6 months, and we haven't even seen concept art.
Ain't even seen
concept art.
But you know what, J-Rock? Here's the funny part.
Concept art, J-Rock. How many times can you look at the Brooklyn Bridge, man?
Oh man! You live there, dude. Come on, man. Oh man!
You gotta be sick of it.
Hey, how many times we'll go to Central Park? Oh man,
remember, we're going interdimensional though with this one.
And collect balloons, and it still won't be the whole city though.
We're going into the multiverse. We're going into the multiverse. They can't show that off.
It takes Ron McAfee to come out to tell y'all what we were telling y'all over a year ago. Now you accept it. Now
his
you
timing
accept
is sus now
what he
because he
said.
always wants to be on the winning side. Nah, bro, stay over there, Ryan McCaffrey. We know what you about, bro. We know who you cap for. Now all of a sudden you realize the chips are about to fall the other direction beginning tomorrow. Get out of here with that, man.
Hey,
Get out
hey,
with that
legal.
dude,
You
bro.
notice something, man? Why is it always these Ronald McDonald looking clowns out here that always keep doing this? You got him, Dreamcast guy. They should be wearing some big red
That's Jim
shoes.
Ryan's bastard child right there.
They should.
I'm gonna leave him alone. I'm gonna leave him alone till the end of the month, man. I heard about some situations
That's
about
right,
him.
Deploy.
I heard some
You call him
situations about him. I'm gonna leave him
Shaggy.
alone
That's
till
right.
the end of the month, bro.
Hey, but you gotta understand. But you understand. It's not the first time Sony handled games. Go back to the beginning of the PS4. I would listen to games this show, right? And they have Knack and Q's who have the launch title. Then they have Drive Club, Infamous Second Son, Little Planet. Ain't got shit like Bloodborne. That's a say. All right, I give them that. Hell Drivers, The Order 1886. Terraria Unfolded, Until Dawn. Like, Until Dawn was the biggest game in 2015. That was sad. Like, they didn't have a lot of first-party games that time. But nobody could care less about first-party games until Sony started putting their first-party games in 2018. That's where the goalposts started shifting. It was about the power narrative. Now, I admit it, PlayStation did have some great games in the end of the generation towards the audience, right? But I said it again, I'm gonna say it 100 times. After God of War, what next? See, that's why I'm trying to say, because they don't have a roadmap. They don't have anything. All right, because let's
They
say
have no
Spider-Man.
pipeline.
Yeah, let's say Spider-Man do come out this year, right? Right, JyzalGaming? Right, legal? Right, realist? 6 later?
Okay.
That's between November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's almost 10 months of a first-party AAA game, or I say first-party game in general, right? After Spider-Man, what else coming out? Cause I'm looking at the list of the Sony Interactive games on Wikipedia, right?
Man, don't do that. You be stuck all day scratching your head.
No. This says Stellar Blade is coming out this year, and Marvel Spider-Man 2, right? Next year, the only game that Sony gonna publish next year is confirmed is Rise of the Robin. Now, to be announced is Death Stranding 2, Lost Soul Aside. That game been sold for almost 2 decades. Marvel's Wolverine and the Knights of the Old Republic. That's it. They don't none of these games are announced. So you tell me that Rise of the Roman is coming out next year? When is that coming out? And let's say it come out next year, right? Let's say it come out next year. So we're gonna have one first-party game every year. That's stupid. Like, what else is coming? Where's the showcase and anything? They don't have nothing. So what they're gonna do is they do every generation since last generation, right? The beginning. There's gonna
Yo, Games, you imagine the showcase comes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all they're showing off is games as a service.
but
third party.
Hey, but what else? What else are they gonna be able to show off though?
Oh shit!
No, that's right.
No, who this?
Oh man, not the beast is truth. Oh man, we done bad. Hey, nigga, kick his ass out. Kick his ass out, man.
He was invited, just like you were invited.
Kick Beast out, man.
Hey, boy got the V for Vendetta on. I didn't know who the hell that was.
Yeah. No, but
he got the whole purge thing going.
I like it.
But listen though, right? These guys can put all these narratives, right? Ryan McCaffrey, right? I told these dudes for years, Ryan McCaffrey is not your hero, dude. I've been saying the crap game and all of them. Oh, but Ryan McCaffrey told the truth. Nigga, he's a corporate, right? This is why I don't like Greg Miller, IGN, all that. I I don't go over it. The only person I can respect in the industry is Tana Heron. At least he got some sense, and he's a real insider, right? The rest of these dudes are not insiders. They're just like a corporate, like a mouthpieces, right? And I watched that video, and that video pissed me off because if you're naming Final Fantasy as a first-party game, right? And the definition of first-party game is that it's published by a first-party studio. Square Enix is not owned by Sony. How in the world?
Might as well be.
Yeah.
But how? Okay, but how in the world is that a first party game? If I was up there, see, this is why nobody challenges these dudes, right? If I was up there, right, I'll probably get booed off IGN very quickly. So, okay, so based on your logic, Stalker 2 is a first party game for Xbox or High on Life because you can't move the goalposts. Just admit that this year, PlayStation is worse than Microsoft last year. At least Microsoft released some AA games last year. Doesn't matter you don't like these games or not. The games like Pentiment Grounded, Dust Falls, Hi-Fi Rush and all that stuff.
The big problem with last year is they refused to accept the fact that Xbox released anything at all. They still want to play it off like we didn't put anything out.
Hold on. We had the Forza Horizon 5 DLC last year, but these clowns want to talk about, we got the Horizon DLC. So you want to start changing the goalposts, right? You could do that. Let's change the goalposts, right? So I said to get on Wikipedia, right? Even Wikipedia is clueless what the hell's coming out, right? Because after this year, right, there's Spider-Man 2 and Stellar Blade. We don't know what the fucking Stellar Blade is coming out because we don't know. So next year is Rise of the Robin. Now, if Rise of the Robin is coming out next year, this said to be announced games are coming out next year. I mean, in the future, Death Stranding 2, nobody's not playing that. Lost Soul aside, Marvel Spider-Man and the Knights of the Old Republic remake. When these games coming out, that means that there's a reason why they don't have a showcase because what in the world are they gonna show? See, Microsoft have different IPs. I told Beats they could show the Killer Instinct this year. We didn't know that Killer Instinct was in the roadmap. They could show another Banjo-Kazooie this year. We didn't know that. Microsoft has different franchises. The problem is that Sony refused to actually, get the old franchise revive it. That's why I'm pissed off that Guerrilla Games are going to make another Horizon game. And I tell League on the phone, we don't want that crap. I played the first game, that shit was boring.
The next one is a multiplayer.
We don't want this. I mean, even the hardcore Sony fans, nobody wants that. People want another Killzone. But the problem is, their fans don't accept that. So now Sony is in this roadmap.
Against Games Heroes,
their
when
fans
they try to do something new, the fans do what?
Don't accept it. All right? Where is the old IPs? Bring some of these games back. The PlayStation 3 was the last diversity console that Sony made. All right? Hate it or love it. They had games like Little Big Planet, Little Big Planet Car Racing, Warhawk, Starhawk, PlayStation All-Stars, and et cetera, et cetera.
And I played the hell out of Warhawk.
Yeah, exactly. Their fans don't play these games. I say it again. Outside these third-person over-the-shoulder games, whatever Microsoft makes, like Hi-Fi Rush, to Agent Empires, to Banjo-Kazooie, to Killer Instinct, whatever, they think that these games are garbage because it's not cinematic. It's not a movie. It's not cutscenes. It's not.
No, it's not because of any of that. It's just because it's not on PlayStation and it's actually Xbox. So all of a sudden it's automatically because I guarantee you, there's a universe in this multiverse somewhere, right, where all these games actually came to PlayStation, right? And of course they didn't sell because PlayStation gamers really don't buy games anyway, right? But they cap for those games anyway. And I want to bring up something that you said at the very beginning of this because it bears repeating. And Games Hero, I gotta give you the flowers for this one, yo. PlayStation this year is gonna have a worse year this year than Xbox had last year when everybody was acting like Xbox is 2017 or 2013 all over again. That's literally the facts. If all they have is a Spider-Man that's supposedly supposed to come out this year, we still haven't seen nothing about it yet.
Right? Yeah.
Right? Like, really, bro? Really?
Even Ron McCaffrey trying to double down. Like, he trying to say, okay, you know, VR, man, we know, we know about VR. It didn't so well. We have Spider-Man coming out in fall, but rumor coming out September. They don't really have anything that much, but we got Final Fantasy 16 as a quote-unquote first-party game. See, that's the problem. I told you guys.
It's dated.
But I'm telling you guys, right? I blame the Xbox fans, too. You guys fall for these narratives. These matters are going to come. No, we must be realists. No, no, we're talking about like Xbox fans on Twitter. You guys fall for these narratives. If Ryan McCaffrey can come out and say that, right?
You're talking about the Doomers?
Yeah. If Ryan McCaffrey can say that, but why we Xbox fans can't count Stalker? Why we Xbox fans can't count Stalker 2 or Ark 2 or any third-party game? We're going to have a third-party exclusive coming out in 2 days, the Benjamin Fox game. I actually want to play that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that game is dope as hell. So, anyway, y'all don't surprise for this. IG loves the console wars. They feed off the console wars. Without the console wars, nobody goes to IGN.com. Trust me. GameStop too. Polygon. They love the console wars. Yeah.
But the Doom is coming tomorrow for them. For them. The Doom comes tomorrow, supposedly, right? Like, and it's funny that Microsoft already planned an event, right? The same day that's supposed to happen. It's like they already know. And here's the most important thing about all of that, right? This is all according to the timetable they told us last year. They told us this was going to take this long. We were all like, what? Really? Okay, so we got to go through some approvals, blah, blah, blah. It's a big money deal, the biggest ever, yada, yada. Yeah, okay, fine. But still that long?
Yeah.
Like, in theory, you would have thought it would have ended last year, right? But it just goes to show that's how much they knew everything that was going to happen. This is not 4D chess or 5D chess. This is like they had a time machine. They got that DeLorean, yo. They found Doc Brown. They jacked his time machine. They went back up to this year, found out what was going to happen, and went back and told themselves, yo, this is what we're doing. Like, they had to know. But of course they knew. They know their competition. Before Xbox was even a thing in the 90s when Bill Gates was asked who's their competition, and he said Sony. That's how he knew. He knew, and they knew now. It's just crazy.
It's good that you said that because we don't live in a perfect world, right? People like it goes back to what Rilla said. People nitpick the dumbest things, bro. And we know why, right, Beast? We know why, because it's social media. So they nitpick this dumb stuff because they're dumb, right? You gotta understand, some of these guys that are on Twitter all day, they don't really have a social life. You're giving them a social life. That's why I'm figuring it out now. I'm doing more muting than I ever had in my life.
Hey, Legal, why you think I don't engage with niggas no more?
Muting, because a lot of these
dudes because banning them, like I said, they want to get
on Twitter and actually have a conversation with me. Like, bro, I'm not here to
like I keep telling y'all, misery loves company.
I'm on Twitter to make you upset. I'm not on Twitter to carry on an argument with you on why I'm doing it. You don't need to know why I'm doing it. If you don't like what I'm doing, don't come to my post. It's just that simple. If you come to my post, I'm just gonna laugh at you. I'm not here to converse with you or anything, right? But we don't live in a perfect world, right, Sid? So Microsoft gave us a pipeline. So like I've been saying, they gave us the whole entire pipeline from day one. A lot of cats were criticizing, they shouldn't have showed them games. What are you talking about? If they didn't show them games, I probably would have bought my Series X. Like,
the problem is they didn't show the games, Legal. They would have complained about that. Why didn't they show anything?
Boss, look, when you're selling me a product, I don't mind being bamboozled if it's the right way of doing me, right? Tell me Fable's coming out, right, Beast? Tell me a Valve is coming out. Tell me Indiana Jones is coming out. And I buy the console and it don't come out until 3 years later. Okay, you got me, right? But watch this, Beast. But I still ended up getting those games, right? So at the end of the generation, I can say I played these games. That's marketing. Nobody in their right mind would do like Sony did, right? Oh, they put out their pipeline too. They showed Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, and Returnal. That was pretty much all they had. Demon Souls, Ratchet and Clank. Okay, we got it. 7 games. That's what you got, y'all. Y'all can't name me another better. Oh, Wolverine. I'm sorry. 8. That's it. I just named.
Hey, Forspoken is literal garbage. Literal garbage.
Right, bro. I just named their pipeline, right? Now look at the games that I named. Which ones that already done came out? Returnal, God of War, Aloy, Gran Turismo 7,
Ratchet and Clank,
Kratos, Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, I'm already at 6. I've named 8.
What was that other mess?
Hold on, boss.
That car thing.
Hold on, boss. And it's not even been 3 years.
Grand transaction.
Sick. It ain't even been 3 years. They've given 6 games of their pipeline.
Or Destruction All Stars, one of them shits.
Right,
Yeah, that's
nothing.
But
you know what's crazy though? Sony. Okay, go ahead.
So 6 Slayer. In a real world, right? Going back to what Realist was saying, in a perfect world, all these games would have came out on time. But we as gamers know that these games, like Realist was saying, we're not developers. We don't make video games. We just buy them. So there's got to be an understanding, right? And as long as we've been gamers, we can't sound this stupid, right, Beast? We just can't, right, Sick? Because we've been out here too long. We know how it goes. Experience. So when Microsoft said, "Hey, our plan is to drop these games in a 12-year span," we get critical. Oh, the game ain't coming out in July and June. They said 12. Like, we got to stop being so corny. Like, if the game is going to come out 2023, you got to be happy with that. In a perfect world, things happen. But we don't live in a perfect world. I'd rather have a few months off than a game to be delayed for another 2 years because they lied to me.
But see, here's the thing with that though. Like, no matter what like everything we ever told these dudes, that shit has come to pass, right? Or it's coming true. Like, it's like you said earlier. Like, I stopped engaging with a lot of niggas. After Boss, is that you? Are you After Boss on Twitter?
No, I'm not Canadian. But while I'm at it, everybody smash that like button.
Yeah, it's Fireballs.
That's After Boss.
Okay.
Right
Okay, so
like Guerrero.
Yeah. So, cause I seen somewhere After Boss and Old Boy, the Office Max, right? So it's like that dude. Like, since I stopped engaging with them kind of dudes, they don't get no kind of engagement. It's like I told y'all a long time ago. Like, talking to them niggas, get them something to talk about, cause they ain't got no games to talk about, right? They ain't like. I literally noticed that. Like, I clicked this page, I got him blocked. Like, after I challenged him, like, he looked up my gamer tag and all this, but I was like, okay, bro, you got more time than me, play me then. That nigga blocked me on Xbox. I'm like, yeah, nigga, fuck all this, right? And I'm looking at these dudes' pages, and they don't get no engagement if they don't talk about us. They don't get no engagement if we ain't back and forth with them.
They don't get no engagement
because that's not a gaming community, bro. And what I thought you were gonna say, Legal, I was like, I'm glad you remembered. Why is PlayStation what it is? Right? They built a community of TV watchers. They didn't build a community of games.
Facts.
They sold their console. They sold their console based off of a DVD player, bro. So this is why we can't have the same conversations with these guys. We can't have the same conversations with these guys because they're not built off the same thing. They were built off of being able to watch. They were built off of being able to watch The Matrix on their PlayStation 2. Right? That's what they were built on. We were built on Halo and Gears.
No low blows.
All right.
Realist, you not lying, because my cousin, when he first got a PS2, he was hold on, Gaines, hold on. My cousin was the first one of us to get a PS2. One of the first things he got SmackDown, Just Bring It, right? And he got Scary Movie 2. We used that shit probably for DVD movies more or at least as much as we did the game, right? And even going back to the PS1, that shit, the PS1 was what it was because that's when 3D game was coming into its own, right, on console. Because you had a 64, you had the PS1, then the Dreamcast and all that. But as time went on, they kind of got away from focusing on games and more onto the media, which is ironic because they try to clown Xbox for doing what they did with the one.
TV.
Right. But PlayStation built. Look at what PlayStation is. They're a movie company. People forget that, right?
But
Sony
I say
Pictures.
this also true. I mean, I said truth. Well, I said his
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yo, J-Rock, really hit it right on the dot. We were just talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Phyllis, look, they make video games for them. This is how they play their video games. Oh, did you see how the water look? Did you? They're sightseeing gamers. Oh, you see the light?
Yeah,
right,
for
that's
real.
What they do. Go over here, look. Oh,
Look,
you know, PlayStation should just make.
I get tired of that shit.
Looking at that
bro. And that's why opponent can't tell me nothing about gaming on my Xbox.
Nothing.
Right.
But you boys stay.
Thank you.
Boys
Every
stay
time,
interactive. And they don't have anything intelligent to say.
Every time they post what you see, look at the trees, look at the water, and I'm like, yo, show me you winning something, show me you with some skill, nigga. Play me in a game. They want to do that though.
Got a new nickname, Sightseeing Gamers. God.
That's all they do, bro. Swear.
Bro, I got a question for Realist, J-Rock in particular. I know you guys stay focused on that Game Hero 2, right? Oh, okay.
All right.
Yo, so today we've been getting a lot of financials because Microsoft, I believe it was their what did they call that again, Realist?
Q3.
The quarterly report.
The quarterly report. The investor call.
Right, the investor call, bro. Like, how many narratives were destroyed with that alone today? Right, $1 billion on Game Pass. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about
it's not sustainable.
But the crazy thing about it, but hold on, but the crazy thing about it, right? If Xbox had a bad last year, how in the world Game Pass had $1 billion? What?
$1 billion?
Well,
$1 billion
games,
in revenue.
This is what I tell you though. You can't even take them niggas that serious because it's like they just said. They are not gamers, bro. It's like when you get absorbed into the Twitter sphere of it, and these dudes make these dumbass posts. It's kind of like when I had the space yesterday about some of everything, right? When I see the stupid shit they say, I just ignore it, bro. Because if you respond to it, you're gonna be there all day. Like maybe respond 1 or 2 times and cap your shit.
Goddamn saying it. Misery loves
Yeah, bro.
company.
Like
we want you miserable. We want to drag you down with us.
Yeah, they can't tell me. They can't.
And then I heard another space today, right? Where and it was that dude cheat code. I'm gonna say the name, right? Like,
man, forget that weirdo.
Disgusting, right? They were disgusting.
Man.
Who wasn't been there? I think you were there too, right?
Man, he said cheat code. Hey, we down bad.
Realist, didn't I send you back to your corner?
Di-RRec game is down bad. Realist going
Yeah, Beast, we down bad, Beast. We down bad.
Realist going
Hey, hold on, let him finish. I want to hear what he's saying.
Oh, we said cheat code.
I noticed these dudes, right? They try to speak intelligently, and it's like other people, right?
That nigga got me blocked because I checked his ass too many times.
Conversation. It was, the homies who be in the other spaces with us, right? They be in your spaces too, right? When you're not in yours, they're in their own, right? And they were like talking with this dude amongst others, right? And they're talking, and they're like, he keeps trying to sneak in little bits of bullshit here and there, and it's subtle things, right? Subtle things left and right. Even the ones who think they're smart, that's all they do. That's all they do.
Bro, I gave you a term for that, bro. It's just articulate bullshit.
Yes.
You can eloquently say something that's so stupid. And you get suckered into a discussion with these fools because what they said sounded like it might make some sense. But if you just take a half step back and analyze what they said, you realize, no, I have no place here.
Exactly. And the reason why I say that is not to talk about that, but to talk about the last topic I want to bring up amongst y'all guys, right? Jeff Grubb and what he said. Here's the messed up thing about all of that. Why is it immediately after Aaron Greenberg, because there's only a couple of people who was talking these logical talking points after Aaron Greenberg set the record straight, right? There was only a couple of people, and I can name them because a couple of them are in here, right? J-Rock spoke out. Games Hero spoke out. Beat spoke out. Realist spoke. Actually, it was everybody here, right? except me, because I wasn't really in the conversation until way later when the word already had come out by Aaron Greenberg, right? Because I always catch it like later on in the afternoon, right? But even before Aaron Greenberg has set the record straight, why the fuck was anybody listening to Jeff Grubb? First of all, his accuracy on everything he says is real goddamn low. Real goddamn low. He's like a monkey who takes his shit and throws it against the wall. Eventually, something's gonna stick. And yeah, from time to time, he says something that's true. But if he really thought he knew anything, he should have known that made no sense. We already have prerequisite information that proved all of that wrong. And there were so many of these doom and gloomers who sat there and ate it up because they thought it was going to give them hits and views and all of that, right? And none of them apologized, except for Jeff Grubb, who didn't even really actually apologize, right? He just made
he tried to double down on it.
Exactly what I was going to say. He actually tried to double down on what he was saying. He never even apologized either. But
see, the thing is, this dude is supposed to be a professional journalist.
Right, and that's the thing about it. Us gamers knew the facts, and he actually supposed to be a gamer too and actually plays games, but even he said that crap, thinking nobody was going to catch him because he thought the PlayStation shit was still to that level, but it freaking wasn't. And it's crazy that even in our own community, yo, we got these demagogues who sit here and talk that shit, but they can't fucking back it up.
Hey, the problem that a lot of Xbox guys make with a guy like Jeff Grubb is thinking that he's actually an Xbox guy because he talks about Xbox. When we already acknowledge that there is no news without Xbox. So what else is he gonna have a rumor pertaining to? So see the thing is he's gonna always have something to say about Xbox because there's no Sony news for him to talk about. There's no Sony information leaking out. Nobody wants to talk about Sony. It's always Xbox. Without Xbox, we don't even have a gaming news cycle.
But you know what's crazy, realist?
Come on, man. Xbox is where it's hot.
If they wanted to, they could create Sony news, just like they do Xbox news, right?
Exactly.
They could ask questions like, where's Spider-Man 2? They could ask questions like,
they're gonna cut the signal.
Well, if God of War, Gran Turismo, and Forbidden West all launched at this, when they were scheduled to launch, what was Sony planning to release last year and this year?
Uncharted Remastered and The Last of Us.
Right? They could make articles asking that type of questions. They could
ask
questions about
games. You messed up what J-Rock is saying. Jay's got to repeat that now. Nobody heard it because you spoke over him.
Where's the Forbidden West numbers? Where's GT7 numbers? You see, they could write an article saying that, right? But they won't. Now, if it comes to Xbox, they could make articles like that all day.
Because that's what brings in the clicks.
But see, this is the problem. This is the problem, J-Rock. Us as a community, right? I always say we weaker than wet toilet paper. I don't care who gets mad about it, man. Because we should be able to stand up on what's going on. Look, check it out, man.
Shoot straight from Houston.
You got them dudes talking about Forspoken, right? Forspoken, they want to compare Forspoken to Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, right?
Last I checked, one of them was closed after the game release, and another expanded. So I'm not understanding why we even got invested in that. We should know better than that because we're supposed to be the Xbox fans. Right. A fan is in tune with what's going on with what they're a fan of, and this is what disappoints me about the Xbox community. We should have been able to sniff. We should have been able to sniff this and smell and call bullshit from jump.
Yeah, and that's
I told you half these jokers are traumatized. Right. They like beating. They're like abused and battered wives.
Hey, but I'm gonna ask a question, realist. Remember last time they said you can't compare a AAA game. My bad.
Hey, man. We got a deep panel and everybody's eager, man. Let Game Heroes go, bro.
Now let me.
Nah, fuck that. That nigga be going off. Hold on. Let me.
He does.
Hey, hold on. Before that nigga go, listen. This my thing with them niggas, man. Like. Forspoken, that shit bombed, and now they saying that's not a Sony game. That's not a Sony game. But they out here hyping up.
It's not a Sony game.
Now, right.
But now they out here hyping up.
16 is.
Yes, they hyping that shit up, and it's the same fucking publicist.
And if that bombs, it's not a PlayStation game.
Man,
y'all
exactly.
These niggas is
y'all. 2023, dry as F. for these donkeys that have no news. They have
Facts.
none. And the only thing talkless they can talk about is what they always talk about. You go on their YouTube channels, they ain't talking about PlayStation, baby.
They're talking about Xbox.
Xbox.
Damn Xbox.
And
why? Because Xbox is exciting.
But this was fucked up though. Every game they anticipating.
Play these Xbox games on PlayStation.
Hey, bro, hey, legal. Hey, real quick, bro. What's the name of that studio that they said they just bought? Sony. What's the name of that studio?
Fire Sprite.
Yeah, it slipped my mind, man. Nobody talked about it.
Nobody cares.
Hey, legal.
Anywhere.
Hey, realist.
Hold on, Games Heroes, because I want to say this real quick, yo. Note who was with the doom and gloom S, right? Because he's telling me, man, I already cursed. It's already too late. Note who was with the shits. Note who was with the shits before Aaron Greenberg cleared the air. Note it down and stop following them. Stop listening to them. Stop responding to whatever they say. They don't matter. You think they down? They not down. They're with the enemy.
I saw some crazy switch ups on that shit. Sick.
Yeah.
When they doom and gloom, the next moment they try to use Aaron Greenberg as ammo. I said, what?
Yep.
No, that's all they do, bro. That's all when it comes.
Names and erase them from your mind. Don't pay attention to them. Remember who they really capped for. It's like Legal always says, he was on the show, and we know who really forced him to come on. We know we're not going to name the name. That's some inside talk, right? But that same dude is talking about Spider-Man. He knows Spider-Man 2 is going to be out. It's going to bring. It's going to be great. It's going to be all this. How do you know this? When did you touch the game?
Real quick, bro. You know that like they don't have to show us concept art. They don't have to show anything. They can just show a new costume for Spider-Man, and they're gonna start wetting their panties. And that's what Sony banking on.
Man, but that's the legs without that already now. What you talking about?
But see, that's the reason. That's the reason when it comes to that Twitter shit, I don't fuck with none of those fake ass Xbox niggas, and I call them out all the time because I already know when it comes to Xbox in gaming and Twitter, what I noticed about that shit, because y'all heard some of the little stories I done told about niggas I done holler at offline, and when they get on Twitter, they like a whole new person. When these Xbox dudes is on Twitter, they're not doing it because they're Xbox fans or they actually sincerely give a fuck about what we talk about. It's all about notoriety. It's all about getting a follow. It's all about getting popular. That's all it is. Them niggas lie through their teeth and switch it up. Whatever is the most popular thing to be riding for, that's what they're gonna do. And that's fake shit. I don't know fake shit in real life. So that's why I'm always gonna butt heads with niggas like that. Because there's nothing but a bunch of fake news ass dudes. Like they be talking like PlayStation is so great. But again, every game they're anticipating right now, none of those characters are originally Sony created. They didn't create Final Fantasy. I've been playing that shit since Super Nintendo. They didn't create Spider-Man. I've been playing Spider-Man since Super Nintendo. Like at least when it comes to Redfall, Starfield, Alpha Rush, and all these games, they made eight views on Xbox. Those are going to be Xbox characters, right?
Brian G4 in the building. Jeff Grubb smoked cigarette backwards. Then let me get up in here real quick.
Oh man,
going at it. I can't keep up.
It's all about that pull.
Grand Slam. They said Ragnarok ending Xbox dead in 3 days.
Hey, that's B sucking camel. But listen, man.
No, that ain't Beast. That's the homie. That ain't Beast.
That nigga said soccer camel. That's crazy.
Hey, listen, man. They down bad this year, man. Because at the end of the day, man, these are the same dudes somehow. Oh, you can't count ground or Pentiment or these games. Well, I ain't buying no Xbox to play these games.
And all that shit better than Forspoken.
Hey,
crazy.
Hey, hold on, Games. You hit it right there, right? They said I didn't buy the console to play this game, right? But when a Netflix indie game got announced, right, that was skipping Xbox got hundreds of these games.
Bro, that was us.
These cats don't play, right? These cats don't play hundreds of these games.
Coming on Oxenfree, that was us, though.
Right. and look, that shit skip. All of a sudden, here they come. The ones that say they don't buy the Xbox to play those games. Oh my God, it's skipping Xbox.
They need to do better.
They need to do better.
Hold on.
Literally, same type of game next month, right? In the Fox, right? The last case of
Benjamin Fox.
Benedict Fox.
And I bet you the same ones complaining ain't gonna play that game.
Hey, J-Rock.
Because guess what? They in between type of cats. I heard you, Gabe. They in between cats. They Xbox dudes, but they PlayStation at heart. You can tell in their conversation, bro. We talking about games. These dudes these dudes try to run pony narratives in the Xbox space, and we should not allow that. But we continue to. We engage with these fools. We give them some notoriety.
Yo,
bro,
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I got a question for Realist, and it's real quick. And continue on with the truth. Did you? I got two questions for Realist. The first one is, did you steal the Book of X from me, man, or did you go to Smitty Smith and get you a 4th edition?
Man,
you know, Smitty Smith is loyal to who's been loyal, so he probably gave him 4th
look,
edition,
man.
bro.
Smitty Smith sent me a text message. That's all I could get.
I knew it. He gave you a digital copy.
But it's life. It's life.
The second question, Realist. Why does the Xbox community act like they scared of these dudes? Like,
because there's more. Because there's more of them.
I'm afraid.
But see, yeah, like all this was new to me, because you and I, we talk offline, and I realized how the game was played on Twitter, bro. It's not about the truth. It's just about who has the most followers. It's about who gets the most likes. Well, because to me it was a revelation. I always thought we talked truth. We spoke truth, and the truth went out. But on the internet, on the internet, bro, I had to see that, man. It doesn't matter, bro. When I can get a dude to just come through and retweet your quote to his page, and then all his little followers jump on.
Yep.
But that's why I got so many tweets on Twitter, because I'm arguing off of one tweet. I'm arguing with a whole community of people.
That's what happened to Beast on the other thing.
All right, Range G4. I gotta get Range G4 in. Y'all keep going. Hey. I'm tired of hearing the Xbox needs better marketing, and I want to elaborate on this after today.
Please let me. I need to jump on this.
After I saw today, I can't remember. Oh, I was talking to J-Rock before I got off work today. After what I saw today, right? After his little video, and then I went in and grabbed me, because I'm gonna do a special video for everybody soon. Don't worry, y'all gonna love it, especially retro gamers and root gamers like myself. Anybody that was born and played in the 80s, that touched those arcades, you're gonna love this show, because now there's really nothing else to say. The new league on Di-RRec Gaming. For the first time ever, I'm going to say it right here. Because my Range G4, I'm with you, bro. And I'm even going to go a little bit deeper. I don't care if I don't see another Xbox commercial. I don't care if I don't see another thing on a Dorito chip or on a soft drink. I don't care if I don't see something on a billboard. Because I've been educated. I've seen the light. I've been to the mountaintop. You know what I saw? When
I came back with the tablets and the beer too?
Yeah. Six Slayer. I don't care if Xbox don't even go to the Super Bowl commercials, baby. You know why? Because
even though they do all those things, by the way, but they need better marketing.
Because we are about to go back to the beginning. Once the CMA drops the ball and the ABK deal has begun, we're going back to the arcades, but it's going to be digitalized. And you will never forget this name as long as you live. You heard it from me. The only thing that Microsoft has to advertise and market from this day forth with the new legal is the legendary name called Game Pass.
Echo.
Hallelujah. I'm glad that I got another Xbox fan to understand what Xbox is doing. I'm so tired of these people talking about marketing. I have to ask people. I've been on podcasts. Dudes talking about Xbox needs to market. Do they market Game Pass? The thing the Xbox community, the Xbox fans in the community need to understand: the Game Pass is the platform. Yeah, we love our Xbox, but marketing Game Pass is marketing games, and it's marketing Game Pass, PC, cloud infrastructure, the whole nine. All that is Game Pass, and the sooner we accept that and understand that, the better off we'll be as a community. While we keep begging for this marketing campaigns. And like I told you, but like I told you before, Legal, when it came to marketing, did Halo get marketed? Hell yeah, yes it did. Yes it did. I went to the gas station and I think it was on a Rockstar can. It was everywhere.
Rockstar can was that's what I did.
And it was on. They had Taco Bell. I'm talking about Halo Infinite. They had Taco Bell commercial, and then they had a whole campaign that they had to cancel because the game got delayed. Yep. Right. So when it comes to the game,
pause real quick. They do all those ads every time so often. People complain about the Mountain Dew and the Doritos, and then say they don't do ads.
They just had Halo marketing not too long ago with those RC cars.
But they have commercials every time a Halo game comes out. The thing with Microsoft,
they complain just to be complaining.
Complainers, man. Yeah, but they complain to be complaining. But when it comes to Microsoft and marketing, how much are they going to advertise the Xbox? Everybody knows that the Xbox exists. When they get the IP that they know that rings bells with the casual gamer, then you'll start seeing more commercials. See, I don't know if people are talking about marketing or advertisements or promotions, because that's technically a promotion on Rockstar, but they don't understand what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft is marketing Game Pass because Game Pass is Teflon. How are you gonna see? The CMA tried to argue against Game Pass, right? Sony tried to say.
Talking. Go ahead and shout Tarkless out. Go ahead and read the thing. Keep talking.
Shout out to the homie Tarkless. 2022 third party don't count. 2023 Final Fantasy 16 counts. So realist. Look, I'm so confident. I'm so confident over here in my square, in my green square, that I let them have that, right? I let them have Spider-Man whenever it drops. I let them have all these third-party games that barely making it out of the door, like Parasite Eve. I let them have all that because I know as an Xbox consumer that Xbox has 23 studios, 36 teams, and then you have Activision Blizzard get ready to close. Right, you got a whole bunch of studios that were just relegated to being Call of Duty studios that could be making your Banjo-Kazooies like your Toys for Bobs and things like that. I'm confident over here. Will I have to wait? Fine, but I'm playing games right now. There's plenty of games in Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? I just beat. What's that game? Legal. We still got to get you through it. Whoa, long.
We're gonna play it tonight.
You see what I'm saying? Look, Atomic Heart was in Game Pass.
Oh yeah,
right? Can you beat that first boss?
I was gonna send my screen record with the first boss that I beat him on New Game Plus and then tag you in it, but I ain't do that to you. Look.
Hold on, J-Rock.
Yo,
these are the same dudes talking about Oxenfree too, right? Now. Yeah. If I look at all their gamer tags, none of them even played the first game.
I know. They just want to complain, bro.
J-Rock about the Doomers. I think this question is more for Game Serials. He may know this one more than anybody. Real quick, Game Serials. We just saw the report for April, right? About PlayStation.
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus got a 25% drop. And all of it. What was it? It was 25% drop.
The fuck is the reason for having PlayStation Plus anyway?
I know, but I'm trying to get the facts because I don't want to just say stuff.
Right, they don't even got multiplayers.
I think here it is. PlayStation Plus games for April, right? So that's this month. 2023 piece down 25% in players. Single piece in players, not in games.
That's wild.
Why? So we ain't even mentioning games. We're mentioning players. Now watch this, y'all. Watch this. 25% in players. Now, Game Serials, what were we talking about this week? We were talking about how these casuals jump. J-Rock, they jump. They jump back and forth. They're not stable. You can't stabilize your community with flip-floppers. Flip-floppers never help the situation. This is why
that's Sony's fault, though.
Right. This is why we stand tall on the Book of X. We go by these laws.
I say that's Sony's fault because they don't give them any games to stay subscribed to.
Facts.
So
look,
of course you're gonna flip in and out.
J-Rock, we know more coming when the Call of Duty.
That's the same thing. Ubisoft is.
already know this
that's
stuff
the same issue Ubisoft has.
Right? So if 25% of players are not accounted for PlayStation Plus, my question to a donkey is, where did they go? Now, look. We know Game Pass grew 3% with a total of 5% overall, with an extra 20 million people on.
Read Rangy's for super chat. Rain, we know they wanted to fail. They wanted to fail for the main reason, right? Because they want to cope with the fact that Sony isn't giving them the same treatment.
Read it out.
So Game Pass has been a thorn in Sony's ass. They pissed.
Facts.
Yeah, hey, but look. I let the eagerness of the group overtake me, right? Because I said that, right? Game Pass is Teflon, right? We can't talk console sales when it comes to Game Pass.
Right.
We can only talk about Game Pass. Game Pass is the Trojan horse that can get into wherever Xbox needs it to go. You see what I'm saying? Like when it comes to Microsoft and Sony and their little fight going back and forth about Call of Duty. If we make it exclusive, it doesn't matter. We're willing to put Xbox on your platform, but deep down inside, Microsoft already knows that Sony won't allow it. So Game Pass is the thing that they're gonna promote, not these consoles, right? Because that's all Sony has, right? They're not talking about Plus. They don't even have the gall to put it on a PC and let it somewhat flourish there. But Game Pass is what Microsoft's gonna get behind. They can't get behind Xbox because there's another acquisition. Right, this was never in their crosshairs. Remember, right. Activision came to them. They already had somebody. See, they had said we were looking for more acquisitions before this Activision deal came about. All of a sudden, they come out with this Bobby Kotick news, and then Phil Spencer drops that little tweet that says we're reevaluating our relationship with Activision. Next thing you know, they're purchasing Activision. Right. So there's another acquisition that's yet to come, and when that comes, expect for them to talk about Game Pass. They can't talk about consoles. This is about Game Pass because there's no competition in Game Pass. The competition is on consoles. And if there's a competition in subscription, Sony has theirs. Nintendo doesn't, but they've already been reclassified as not even involved in this competition. So expect Game Pass to be what Xbox gets behind. And we need to get behind that as fans because that's what's going to get us more games that we want on the platform that we like.
Facts. Now you see, the ponies really like Game Pass, right? And they want Sony to do something similar. They just won't admit it. So what they need to do, right, in order to cope, they need to look for a justification and a reason not for Sony not doing it, right? Not treating them well. So that's when you get all the naysayers. Oh, it's not sustainable. It's not this and not that. And anytime there's good news about Game Pass, they start freaking out. They're like, well,
hey, what's up?
Well, if it's good news and it is sustainable, why isn't Sony doing it? Really? Because Sony doesn't give a fuck about you. That's why.
But listen, man. At the end of the day, man,
they're not going to give you a deal.
I don't care about
like Nintendo doesn't give you a deal on games. Sony's not going to give you that deal.
Read what Ray G4 is saying real quick. Game Zeros.
PlayStation Plus subscription sounds like a health insurance. Hey, B, stop doing that, man.
He hurting them, fam.
Shut your ass up, nigga.
Hey, stop giving nigga $1, man.
Yo, but I wanted to say something previously, right? I wanted to say, listen, one of my issues with the Xbox community is this, right? They allow ponies and these outlets to set narratives for them to run with. Like, I don't understand why they even listen to them, bro. It's like me being a Christian listening to a Satanist talk to me about the Bible.
Speak on
it. Exactly what I said earlier, yo. They said
I'm not listening to you, bro.
And all of that stuff.
I'm not listening to you, bro.
We are speaking their language instead of our own as gamers. We're speaking the language of people who don't even play games or understand games like that. They don't buy games. We've been said this before we had the proof. Now we had the proof. Nobody wants to talk about it. But the proof is out there now.
Hey, today, right? Once again, they look at the UK box shells. Talk about Minecraft Legend on the Xbox, so 5%. Now I told people
They love going to the UK.
I told these dudes, right? You tell me that 5% of people play Minecraft Legends on the Xbox, and 0% of people play on PC. They're using that logic, dude. That's the UK box charts. They keep using these UK box charts as their narrative, thinking that Xbox gamers don't buy games. Like
hey, Game Heroes, can I ask you something real quick? Because I know you're pretty much in tune with this. Where do they rank on the gaming GDP? I can't think of a better term. Like China's number 1, United States number 2.
Yeah.
Like where's the UK?
6, fam.
No, UK number 6 and United States number 1. But
no, China is, but the United States spends more per person.
That's facts.
Yeah. China's number 1, but yeah. But no, like Beat's favorite game right now is Dead Island 2, right? So this dude named Nick, Nick, talk about 46% of people, I think like 46 buy on PS5, and nobody bought on the Xbox in the U. But dude, that's the UK box charts. Like Beats right here, well, he doesn't buy physical games, so I know B's gonna buy the game digital. Yeah, because I know B's gonna buy the game digital. I know B's ain't going to like Walmart or Best Buy to buy the game physical because he want to play the game
because he's
instantly.
Not broke and he's not gonna go and trade it in after he's done playing it. That's why I complain about these physical copies.
But hold on,
or to have it on the shelf to sell it later.
Yeah, okay, hold on. So B's not gonna do that, right? But if you look at UK box chart, UK, right? They had a report from IGN last year.
10 more minutes.
UK last year, right? I just said that 99% of people in the UK buy digital. Now, if you look at the UK box charts, that 46% of people buy Dead Island 2. How many people bought Dead Island 2 in the UK with the physical copies? We don't know the number.
Man, don't nobody care. I bought
Nobody cares.
But no,
I know Beast of Truth bought it too.
I know.
Okay, hold on, Games. You gotta hold on before you can.
Real quick. I don't bother with Twitter, man. I don't bother with Twitter. It's Xbox versus PlayStation and Xbox.
That's the thing. It's like we're fighting a war on multiple fronts at the same time. Our own people aren't with us because they aren't our people.
So look at it like this, Games. Basically, let's go back to what you were saying about Dying Light 2. And let's keep this shit 100, right?
Dying Light or Dead Island?
Dead Island.
Dead Island. Damn, I got both of them. My fault.
Dead
Island, right? In Dead Island, I got both of those games. They offer different things. If you like the parkour shit, you got Dying Light. If you like just the fucking fun combat, Dead Island all day.
Yeah, but they're confusing though. They're confusing.
I would love to see that grow like from here. They definitely gonna do a third one at some point way later. That game sold 1 million copies.
This is gonna be a success, bro.
Yeah, that game sold 1 million copies in 3 days.
This ain't no forspoken situation.
Right. It doesn't matter that it's a multi-plat because we heard that Sony games is the best in the world, right? So they should have broke those records easy. But let's keep it 100 about when games do sell more on PlayStation because nobody ever wants to have these real conversations. Number one, like realists like to say, their games don't have legs. So you're gonna run through those single player games. You're gonna get tired of that same template, like the forest, the foliage, the bows, and all this other boring shit. You're gonna need something else to play. On top of that, remember, people buy PlayStations for brand loyalty, and y'all love to brag about how many people they got on PlayStation. So you should be buying more games than us. Like literally, mathematically, you should be buying more games because it was like what 50 million Xbox Ones versus 114 million PS4s or whatever. For you not to buy more games than us will be ridiculous on your part, right? Just on a mathematical basis. So the reason more y'all probably bought Dead Island because you don't have any games to choose from. We can still go through shit like Halo, Forza, Gears, Minecraft, Grounded, right? We have all these options, right? And we got
Vampires,
right? And we have
Legends,
right? We have all these options, and I want y'all to really digest this point. Any ponies, anybody listening? PlayStation guys naturally should buy more games than Xbox because you have less options available. You hungry for games? You niggas talking about advertising? They will advertise 1 or 2 games for you for the entire fucking year. right? Even if Xbox don't advertise, we're getting way more games than y'all, exclusive wise, in Game Pass, third party, whatever. So you should literally mathematically always buy more games than Xbox guys, because you have higher numbers, right? Since the inception of PlayStation from PS1 to PS2, PS3, PS4, you should be buying more games. That's not nothing to brag about. And again, it doesn't matter how many consoles you sell, how many games you buy. How is that helping you on the Sony side, right? You talk about all these consoles you sold. What tangible benefits have you gotten from those sales? Anybody, any pony, anybody. Let me know. What has that shit done for you, right? You always talking about
definitely didn't help them get buying ABK.
Nothing, right? So this is why when I talk to these dudes, they don't like coming to my space and talking to me or none of that shit. Right? They get
PC, right, Beast?
Okay.
Right. Right. They supposed to own powerful PCs, but you crying about Redfall and Starfield. What happened to your PC, nigga? You have a PC? Like, so that's they don't like talking to me. Well, I starting the fuck out. I swear to goodness. Like, y'all be saying all this dumb shit, but when you get down to the math and the logic of it, y'all niggas always lying, bro. That's all they do is lie.
Because game recognize game and they look very unfamiliar to me.
Hey, hold on.
Right.
So I got the data right now, right? From Dead Island 2, right? So I went to the Microsoft most playing game, right? Dead Island 2 is the 13th most playing game over Forza Horizon 5, Minecraft Legends,
right,
and Halo Infinite and Sea of Thieves, right?
So those are before, right? Before.
Yeah. And so
that proved my point. That's what I'm saying.
If I go to the top paid, Dead Island 2 is at number 5. So hold on. They talk about the UK box charts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Dead Island 2 sold 1 million copies, right?
In 3 days.
In 3 days, right? You told me that 90% of people bought Dead Island 2 on PlayStation? No.
But even if they did, by their own logic, that being a cross-gen game, they're supposed to, because you don't have any options. Like, you don't. These dudes will hype up shit like Horizon and Forspoken for the entire year, and you'll get these two games and they won't live up to expectations. Like, Forspoken is literal garbage. That shit has been found in dumpsters. Y'all will never live that shit down. You literally have garbage for a fucking game. Now, the next game you're looking forward to,
or lying or nothing, literally,
literal garbage.
It's funny.
The next game y'all looking forward to, the next two games, Final Fantasy, which is some shit Sony did not create, right? And you're already trying to disown Square Enix when it comes to fucking Forspoken, but now you want to embrace them. Y'all some hypocrites, bro. So the next two games y'all looking forward to, not only did you
Stellar
not
Blade, it's Stellar Blade and Spider-Man.
Yeah, Stellar. Talk Stellar Blade. Remember that shit used to be Project Eve. When that shit got revealed, it had an Xbox logo down there, right? Then Sony literally bought them whatever the fuck they did, money had it, and now that shit is no longer coming out on Xbox.
That game was not going to come out at all. Be the truth. So whatever. Well, if Sony wants that game, let them have it. That studio stalled with that.
So let me tackle that point, really, because I hear people say that all the time. Because 108 like to say the same thing about Street Fighter, right? That reveals Sony's character and how underhanded and dirty they've been this whole fucking time. Just because you fund the game or resurrect the company or help them stand on their feet does not mean you have to make the fucking game exclusive. Microsoft done put money and help fund plenty of fucking games that they allow to be cross-platform. Right? Matter of fact, these niggas still allow y'all niggas to play Minecraft, right? They allow y'all to do a lot of shit they did not have to do. So just because Sony might have saved a motherfucker doesn't mean, okay, you owe me one now. Since I gave you money to make the game and help the game, that shit got to be locked down on us. Well, what if Microsoft did that shit? See what I'm saying? So people got to stop making these excuses for Sony, like they saved them, they did this and they did that. That does not mean you got to be an asshole about it, though.
And it would be evil, just like with with that what was that game with Lara Croft?
Tomb Raider.
But look, you got to look at Microsoft. Microsoft is not just thinking about their console. Microsoft's going to do what's best for the game. Even with Tomb Raider, like they were responsible for Tomb Raider hitting the market. Period. Because Square Enix didn't even want to reboot that game, but they still allowed it to go to other platforms because it was best for the game. But I'm gonna say that, and then I'm gonna shout out to Other Zinc, who always calling out these fraudulent so-called Xbox gaming media personalities by name, putting it on wax, not hiding from it. And shout out to Shane G, one of the Xbox dudes I see on Twitter, standing 10 toes down, representing his Xbox, and letting everybody know that he's having fun playing it. Yeah, I'm sure there are others, but these are the dudes that I see in the chat when I glance down there, and those are the dudes, and that's the dude that I saw on Twitter, and Shane G, always standing 10 toes down, slapping around these fake Xbox fans and exposing them for the frauds they are.
Facts.
Yeah, there's a lot of Xbox frauds out here but
they ponies in their heart.
Because when I go to these spaces, sometimes listening.
It's gonna have to be the last point too. You should get going.
No. Tell them go to spaces and just listening today, something like that. It's the same talking points though. Oh, Xbox needs first party games and this and that. Like, yeah, like we have first party games this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but they're not AAA, really, this and this.
That shit don't matter.
Yeah, well, hold on. So I was about to speak, but I didn't want to speak because there's more people coming up, and the guy
space was you in?
Silky, but I don't want to speak. I was planning to speak, but Doc came up and speak, and everything what Doc said, I was about to say, so I looked by the listener. But and of course people like. They're still crying about this 30 frames a second Redfall. Oh, I'm not going to play it. 30 frames a second is unacceptable. Xbox is constantly giving us incomplete games. We need to help Xbox accountable.
Well, let me ask you this on some real shit. Mm-hmm. Why the hell do you keep putting yourself in situations to talk to such people?
Exactly.
Like real shit.
We've been asking him that same question, man. He's addicted.
If
he's a glutton for punishment.
No.
Listen, hold on. Let me say this. You can take. Let me say this, and you can continue, Games.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Games, listen. You doing that to yourself, man. I done told you
right.
about that stuff, right?
Right, man. So it's like I don't listen. I love great conversation. Everybody know that about me, but I don't tolerate bullshit. Right.
Look. You're new here. Try to keep down the cussing as much as possible.
Okay, my fault.
You good.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you, so my bad. But
they done busted that up.
Yeah. That's already too late.
Don't do that to yourself. Look, you don't fool me with that. And like I said, listen, man, the only way we're gonna get better, you gotta work hard on ignoring the dumb stuff. Ignore the spaces, ignore the reason why a lot of them dudes go into spaces. Because they know that they got a herd of wildebeests, right? Who are just like them, who can't really perceive gaming in its reality. Just like this dude right here, right? I don't mind him flagging day streams. I don't mind him saying this. This doesn't bother me. That don't bother me. See, in a goofy wildebeest space, that would trigger a weak Xbox fan. And then I'm typing him and I'm going at it. But here's what he's going to understand. You see what he just said there. And you see what he just said there, right? Now watch my response. Okay? You see how I responded to him?
Because next time, just kick it in, ignore him, kick him. Don't even give him that energy, bro. Don't even do that.
Bro, listen to me. I'm teaching right now. You see how I responded to him.
You kick him?
No.
Kick him. You're talking all this talk. You show what he said. Should have just kicked him and kept it pushing, bro.
He didn't do anything wrong. That's shit. Look, sick. That's what I'm talking about. Kicking him out ain't gonna make him. He's good to come here. He didn't come to a bad place. He came to a good place. So he's gonna learn soon, right?
He ain't gonna learn nothing. He ain't trying to learn nothing. Get out of here with that.
Legal said we got to reform these crackheads. That's what we doing.
Yeah.
Not on my tax dime, you're not.
Not on my tax dime, exactly, bro. Come on.
I ain't read nothing about that at city council meeting.
Look, I didn't hear what Six said, but I'm gonna finish up. Look, he didn't come to a bad place. And I don't even care if he's even listening and paying attention to us, right? He didn't come to a bad place. That's not even my point of putting it out there. My point is, I said what I said to him. You didn't see him rattle me one bit. I ain't going to text him. This is what I text him. The final conclusion of the matter. So he can take what I told him, right? He can call it bullshit all he wants to. He can run back out in the fields. He can eat the lilies and the hay and the carrots all he wants to. But I know that the brick wall is coming to him. He's going to hit that brick wall. He's going to realize one day, damn, the numbers didn't matter. I was out here saying numbers on one show, and I was goofy. I really didn't know what the hell I was saying. So it ain't for me to go up here and go back and forth with something with a person that I already know the end result for. I already know the end result. You know why? You know why? Because we seen it with Nintendo. He sounds just like a Nintendo fan back in the 90s, early 90s. That's what they sounded like. Look at the numbers today. Look where Nintendo is today. Look at them. Look at them.
The best-selling console still? What are you talking about?
The best-selling console.
No.
There we go. Good point, Rip. Good point, Stick.
Legal.
The best-selling console makes less revenue than all the other consoles. See, because you gotta understand something.
Right.
More doesn't mean better. See, let me put it like this.
That man came up and said McDonald's sell the most burgers. That's what he did.
Unless it's more money.
But legal, you spent 10 minutes on this dude. You could have just ignored it completely.
Nobody seems to get this. And this is another fucking problem, right? In the gaming community, we are as old as we are as gamers. As long as we got a track record that we have as gamers, we keep coming up, we keep saying some of the dumbest shit. We already know what this is, right? With Nintendo, they better sell a lot of consoles.
Hell yeah.
Because if they don't sell a lot of consoles, they're done right off the top. Because they have nothing else to validate for. They got all these damn games sitting up here for years and years and years at the same price. They ain't got no reason to validate that.
Plus
Mario
$10
Odyssey
now.
ain't that damn good. None of their games are that damn good. But we know why Nintendo has to do that. So if they don't sell those consoles like that, they done. Why is Sony acting the way they act? Why has Sony been lying to everybody about these damn exclusives? Why? Because that's the only damn thing they got. There's only one console out here that ain't lying about the exclusives. We got our head coming out saying, listen, man, we know this year was bad. We didn't put out enough of our exclusive. We didn't have big heavyweight titles this year. He said that in 2022. You think Jim Ryan's gonna come out and say something like that? Hell no. because what does Microsoft is free. I did this video a while back. There's 6 things that Microsoft has created. The 3 keys, right? Community, service, and what? Customer service. The other 3, right? Quality, commitment, and something else. I can't remember the last one. But it's 6 things. I actually did a video on this. They are free. They ain't, listen, the industry can't fade Microsoft. They got way too much money. So they're building their own platform right before our eyes. They don't have no shackles on them. They don't have to go by no narrative. And that's why the gaming outlets and everybody attacks Microsoft. Because
shout out to Bing.
Don't stick to their narratives. Microsoft ain't playing their game. And look what's about to happen. I keep telling y'all, when this ABK deal goes through, we will not be having these discussions no more. And you know what the Xbox community gonna be doing? While these donkeys on Twitter, we ain't
playing games.
No more. We're right. Look, we're right back where we needed to be in the 360 days in our party chats, playing with each other. All our communication gonna be in those parties.
Yo, pause on that.
When we come up with the only thing everybody's saying is to tell a donkey.
Hold on, legal.
We
not playing with each other now.
Hey, yo.
You ain't just gonna go. That shit was wild, bro.
Not valid at all.
We gotta
get going.
Bro, you said what you said, just like you said earlier. You said what you said.
These orgies, man. We be hosting them. What are you talking about?
Oh shoot.
Okay, legal. We're about to leave, but I'm just gonna say this one thing, and then I guess we gotta get going because I know you want to watch these playoffs, right?
Bro, I'm right, man.
In the end, what we said from the beginning, in many other aspects, is also true for this, right? We don't get into their narratives, right? We don't speak their language within the goalpost that they originally set, because all they're gonna do is move it around. So after 10 minutes of what this dude said, you put it on screen a bunch of times, you addressed him. You could have just ignored him. If you don't want to kick him, that's fine. Could have just ignored him. We could have moved on. Everybody could have signed out, and you'd be watching the playoffs right now. But instead, you went on for 10 to 15 minutes on this dude. We could have just been done already.
Yo,
see what I'm saying?
Sick, let me ask you something. Yo, hold up, Legal. Let me ask Sick something right quick, yo.
Down need to go, right? It was 140 something when I started speaking.
Yo, Sick. What's the lifetime sales of the PS2?
I think 155.
155,
like that.
right?
Yeah.
Has any console come close?
The DS, that was about it.
Right. I'm talking about console, not.
We talking about
console. No.
I mean, the 4 would be the closest.
The 4,
one,
yeah.
Right. The 4 is
117,
right?
Yeah.
So everything is gonna pretty much fall short. So this is why I don't get caught up in console sales, right? Because we know the destination.
Right.
It's gonna be behind the PS2. So I don't care if you tell me, it's breaking records, it's breaking this, it's selling the fastest ever. Right. I heard the same.
I'm not capping for Nintendo. I'm just saying that for
I'm saying just
like
in
that.
general. I'm speaking in general, right? So I get you when I hear this, right? Because I heard the same things with the PS4 at that time. Months will come out, it's selling great, it's breaking records, and where did it end up? Behind the PS2.
Bro, same thing
PS3, I heard the same shit with the PS3. It's breaking records. It's doing this.
Let him ride.
It's the fastest selling PlayStation ever for this month and this and the quarter. Where did it end up? Behind the PS2. Same thing, PS4. The same thing is gonna happen with the PS5. It's gonna end up what? Behind the PS2.
It's gonna be behind the PS4 too.
Jay, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real.
Why the hell are we talking about this? We know where it's gonna end up.
I'm just saying. He asked a literal question. That is what Nintendo is. I'm not capping for Nintendo. I don't have a Switch. You already know
I'm not even. I wasn't even to be honest.
But the only reason you're saying, the only reason you're saying that is because I said that. If I didn't say that, you, although you're right, and I agree 110%, right? And even the further your point, remember they had the Wii, which was one of their best-selling systems ever, right? And immediately after, they were on death's knell, right? With the Wii U, Nintendo was about to die off of that, but they had their best-selling system ever just previous to that. So I got you, but all I'm saying.
No, you confused. The Wii was the best console ever, and then the Wii U was.
Hey, hold on. I
my God, that's what he came back for.
Hey, hold on. I want to speak on that point about the PS2, and let's keep this shit a grand, because when we be talking about shit, we be leaving out like details that matter a lot, right?
The context, yes.
The only fucking reason the PS2 even sold that much was because gamers on console were more unified. The PS2 was the natural kind of evolution of where we was going with it. So damn near everybody who was a gamer had a PS2 until Xbox came along. Then niggas started splintering off and seeing what gaming is really gonna turn into.
Right.
So I don't think no console will PlayStation will ever reach PS2 numbers, because everybody like me who grew up on the PS2, we are wiser to Xbox now. That shit ain't never gonna happen again. I don't see it ever happening, because
it was the great DVD player. You saw Pimp My Ride, right?
That's what everybody says.
They used to put a bunch of PS2s right in all these custom cars and Pimp My Rides you can watch.
All them records y'all bragging about, like J-Rock said, it don't matter.
Broken because they can't take the shot and put it in a car.
You used to go to the barbershop and you see one in the corner. They're just playing movies.
The PlayStation 2 was sold to a variety of people. It wasn't just sold to gaming. That's why it blew up and reached this height that it happened. Now watch this. The funny part about that is we're okay to say that about PlayStation 2, right? But when Xbox tried to sell us TV and everything, goes back to what Rilla said. We doomed and gloomed it. See how stupid our community is? We didn't allow our community to evolve.
Exactly.
We were listening to donkey narratives.
Exactly.
That's what I've been saying from the beginning. In their history, they okayed it. So now you got to understand. Go with what your company is pushing forward. That's why we made fun of that PlayStation VR 2, because we knew you guys were fronting on it. We don't care about that like that. And y'all don't either.
I told niggas that shit was gonna flop. They wouldn't believe it.
Right. When a company,
you heard King Thrash, he confessed he ain't buy one.
Right.
Queen
Yeah.
Queen trash.
Yeah.
Oh
Nah,
man.
I heard that shit on the podcast, man. That shit was hilarious.
Okay, this how we gonna do this now. That dude's name came up, so we better get out of here. It was Chico. Yo, thank y'all for coming out tonight. The realest one, Six Man, J-Rock, Fireballs, Afterballs, Game Heroes, Rain G4, Secure King.
It's the truth. The whole thing. This is a deep panel.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Dia,
Robbie, Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike.
Day Streams, Korea D, or
Spartan 117, who was here
Alvin and
earlier.
Remy.
Yes, Spartan 117.
Yo, Black Krillin, Tarkulus,
What up, y'all?
6.
Yes, buddy.
And everybody who's gonna listen later on.
Come on.
Yo,
Man, just read the chat instead of trying to be all photographic.
Right. Put the one up in life.
Yeah,
Wait, also shout out.
Yo, gamers, sleep tight, because tomorrow that Star Bomber drops.
Hey, what do you say? Always be, what do you say? Always be faithful. Chase the one up in life. Always keep chasing. Yeah. Always keep chasing your dreams, and don't let nobody take that one up from you. Hey, and these youngsters don't even know what a one up is.
Hell yeah.
Mushroom, baby.
Shout out to all the ponies that's listening that didn't comment. Shout out to all of them that's gonna listen later.
Like that, man. Why y'all going at knives out on them? Why you doing that?
Nah, but yo, I hear that.
Real quick, games, I got it, y'all. I'm gonna say something different. Remember, always keep it gaming. Change that one up in life. Don't let nobody take away from you.
And always remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Right.
You got,
believe it, like Naruto.
You got to do it. You got to do it the He-Man way. You got to do it the Filmation way.
And if you like what we're about, and you're tuning into this station, please hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Never miss a section, a segment, a title, any words of this program. We here, baby.
And remember, ponies, if you get hurt tomorrow, always be sure to tell the adult right next to you, because that's no good.
Don't worry, y'all got that DLC to look forward to.
And the letter of the day for tomorrow is L.
Yep.